Hey, welcome back to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. Everything in my video can be found on a public domain. The full disclaimer's down below. I wish you lots of love and many blessings. Before I go any further, I want to make it very clear. I am not against vaccinations. I'm very much against the misinformation that we're given by those we've been brainwashed to believe and trust in. That being said, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Great Reset, which has everything to do with this pandemic. Everybody should watch this video by Catherine Austin Fitts, and I'll leave the link in the description below, and hopefully this video is still up for viewing. Last I checked, it was. Catherine Fitts is an American investment banker and former public official who served as managing director of Dillon Read & Company and as a United States Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing during the presidency of George H.W. Bush. Out of all the research I've done on this pandemic, on the coronavirus, on the Great Reset, on these agendas, she breaks it down like nobody else can. The U.S. dollar has been weakening for decades. They're trying to thin it out in order to bring in the new currency system. They have big plans with cryptocurrency. That's going to be the new system that we're being led into. In fact, back in 2000s, the early 2000s, they brought about the Bitcoin. They wanted to run that experiment. That was simply a test. People were making ridiculously small investments into this cryptocurrency, and the return was just astronomical. It was so bizarre. People absolutely retired on what they invested in cryptocurrency. They thought by hyping it up and making it look like it was, the golden pot at the end of the rainbow for everybody, that more folks would have been takers. We'd all run to it because we're going to be instant millionaires. It didn't work out that way. So they had to go to plan B in order to get this reset started. The global banking system has tried everything in their power to drive fear into the masses. We've had the war on drugs, the war on terrorism. None of this worked. Think about 9/11. They meant for that to be so frightening to us that they could gain control, and it just didn't work out in their favor. Finally, they found that if they usher in an invisible enemy, this will do the trick. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say there's no coronavirus. There's something out there. And that's a whole nother video, you guys. We'll get to that another day. So they came out with this coronavirus, talking about it's from Wuhan. Go ahead and check Wuhan today. They're completely cleared up. It's a miracle. Not one straggler left behind. In fact, they're partying it up in the clubs on the weekends. We're not even allowed to go to church. Putting all of this fear, which happens to be their best weapon against us yet, having to stand 6 feet apart from everybody, wearing these masks, using hand sanitizer, which is not healthy, constantly. All of this has worked out pretty good for them so far. They've captured the masses' attention. However, they knew in order to get everybody on board, they had to create another drama. Divide and conquer. It's the oldest trick in the book. Next thing we know, we're hearing about all this police brutality against non-white people and the George Floyd incident kicking it off. All of a sudden, we're having rioting, looting, people hurting each other in the streets. Our minds are being fed fear and anger. And these same media outlets that are reporting all this garbage to us that we've been brainwashed to trust our entire lives, they don't tell you the truth. Which is this: white people are more susceptible to police brutality, being injured, murdered, whatever, at the hands of police officers than any other race combined. So if things couldn't get worse, here comes the lockdown. And out of this lockdown, they have a division: essential and non-essential. And these businesses are forced to shut down due to the fact that they're deemed non-essential. Meanwhile, everybody's going stir crazy on lockdown. These businesses forced to shut down due to being non-essential workers are going further and further in debt because their bills don't stop. And as if it couldn't get any worse for these businesses that were forced to shut down, but the rioting and the looting doesn't stop. The fires are set and destroyed their stores. Their businesses are never going to recover. They're completely over their head in debt. The weird part about it, They're all located super close to a Federal Reserve Bank, which is highly suspicious, don't you think? And out of pure desperation, these people are forced to join up with Walmart or Amazon, typically Amazon. Which, by the way, did you happen to know that Amazon holds a CIA contract? Amazon offers the CIA huge cloud capabilities. But why? These same desperate business owners are trying to get out from underneath this crushing debt. So what do? The first person that offers them some money for their business locations, they sell it dirt cheap. And it seems like the majority of the buyers of these burned out businesses, it happens to be the Federal Reserve Bank. And I've heard people say it's just their way of adding an extra layer of security for when we do go crypto and people go crazy. Billionaires and millionaires, people like Oprah and Jeff Bezos, they've increased their wealth by 27% on average since April. In other words, they've just gotten wealthier and wealthier. 2020's been a real good year for them. So this lockdown is not about health care at all. It's all about economics. Like Catherine Fitz says, it's a financial coup. The global banking system's way of breaking down the people to gain total control. They know they have to do something fast before people start to wake up and question what's really going on here. Had to work really fast. Next thing we know, we all have some sort of a contact tracing tracker on our phone, whether we want it on there or not. You can have it off if you want to. I believe it still works. Now, once we're all good and desperate and we're tired of living garbed up, they're going to try to offer us an out through these vaccinations. And instead of having this tracer tracker on our phone, it's going to be in our bodies if they have it their way. And with these identifiers, these trackers in our system, we'll be then hooked up to their cloud system, a global ID system, and it's very similar to the Chinese social credit system. And this is when cryptocurrency will also be introduced. It's going to be according to your behavior. They're going to track how much money you spend, where your money goes. If they don't agree with that, there's going to be some repercussions. Without this ID tracking system, you're not going to be able to work, feed your family, you're not going to be able to travel, you're not going to be able to live. It's simply the mark of the beast. And all of this rebuilding is for their benefit, not ours. All politics aside, when I hear build back better, I cannot help but assume those people preaching build back better are major players in this. It's just not politicians. I really hope you take time to watch Catherine Austin Fitz's video. She explains it a whole lot better than I do and way further in depth. I'm just worried about us. I say pray up. We cannot allow this to happen, and the only way we can truly prevent it is spread the word. Let folks know what's really going on. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon and we'll talk fast. Stay safe and be blessed.